October 19th, 2023 to order. Can I have a roll call?
Rita Eckerman,
Present.
Zach Aiken,
Excused.
John McCullough,
Here.
Greg Dunn,
Here?
Rick Booth,
Excused.
a quorum is present.
Barely. Okay. So this meeting is being recorded and will be posted online within a reasonable time following adjournment. For questions or comments, you may email pio@centralcoastfire.net and they will be relayed to the board. We have made an amendment to our, an adjustment in the manner in which we do things. Under citizen participation, this is written on the agenda, so I'm just going to be rereading it for those of you that already know how to read. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes and should relate to items on the agenda. If the topic you wish to discuss is not on the agenda, you are invited to put your concern or comment in writing and submit it to the board. The board will then determine whether or not to discuss the topic at this meeting, defer it to a subsequent meeting, or direct it to appropriate staff for further research or action. So there is a sign-up sheet in the back, and if you wish to address the board, we ask that you go ahead and use the sign-up sheet. Okay. We have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we have our first round of citizen participation. Does anyone wish to address the board on anything that is on the current agenda? What was that?
Approval of minutes first.
Oh, did I jump ahead? I did jump ahead. I am sorry. Okay, let's try the approval of minutes. So we have the regular session minutes from September 21st, the workshop minutes from September 21st, and the regular meeting from September 21st.
I motion we approve the minutes.
Do I hear a second?
Were we going?
Once you second.
Once you second it.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. I would like to make an amendment to the minutes for clarification. On page 2, under the, where the statement reads, "The right to speak is part of the First Amendment," I believe that sentence should be changed to read that freedom of speech is covered by the First Amendment.
That is correct.
Okay, so I would move to amend the minutes to that. And if I can get a second?
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to amend the minutes from the regular board meeting of September 21st. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now the original motion to approve both sets of minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great job taking notes.
Motion carried.
They're really detailed, I like that.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're at citizen comments and concerns, or citizen participation. And we have, Lita, questions?
I have some questions, and they probably aren't things on your agenda,
Hmm.
but I have a difficulty time getting down to these meetings. I close the door, my office closes the door.
Right.
So, and then I don't like to drive home in the dark.
Well, I do understand that. Is there a way that you can, How would we like to, do we want to have her ask her questions and then decide?
Decide if it needs to be
what-
carried over,
what
yeah.
needs to be- Okay, all right. Go ahead with your questions.
Okay, do you want me up here?
Yeah.
Okay. I follow what happens at the city of Waldorf and the fire department. I live above the 12-mile post on the LC Highway. And I got a copy of your investigation report. And my question on that is, who determined who to contact for the investigation?
The board, oh, well, I
So
guess we
we-
can go ahead and answer that.
I think
Yeah,
Yeah, the board authorized in a regular meeting, authorized us to contact our attorney. The independent investigator was recommended by our attorney,
By the attorney.
by the attorney.
Okay. And then I had, after reading your board statement, I was a little surprised when the board urged citizens to come to the meeting to support the fire personnel. This is good. It's not bad. But all of the citizens should be urged to attend the meetings. They are the taxpayers that support the district.
Right.
So that was a comment. I was surprised when I saw they were just urged to come to support the fire department. Okay. I also read that the fire hall in Tidewater is completed. Why isn't there a sign that indicates that it's completed?
They, if you don't mind,
Go ahead.
Right ahead.
there is a sign, it is done, it's paid for, it's sitting inside, and amongst other projects, I apologize, I do not have it out there yet.
Okay, well, I noticed that there is a sign at Five Rivers,
Yes.
and I also noticed that the area has been cleaned up and the road is open, the driveway is open in there. It looks a lot better than it did.
The sign at Five Rivers is our fire warning sign.
Yeah, that's
That station doesn't have a station sign yet.
But at least it's an indication that there is a
Yeah.
fire. That's my point.
There's also a ODOT fire station sign for Five Rivers, but there isn't one for Tidewater.
That's right.
And we can't put it up ourselves, ODOT has to do it.
And I do have a request in ODOT.
And you have requested it?
Yeah.
I have a request into,
Because that's very important that people know.
yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
Okay, now, my next one, you may not want to answer because you may not have an answer. On July 6th, there was a big fire south of Yawhats. And Central Coast was the first to respond to it. They called in Yawhats, Seal Rock, Newport, Western Lane, and the Forest Service. And they were there for many hours. This is correct. This basically left the entire area without fire protection. I live at 12 plus miles up the LC River. I have been told it would be iffy if my house caught on fire, that the fire trucks would arrive in time to save anything. What is the protocol when you guys are all out on a call? Do you have a protocol?
Yeah.
Pretty
So,
cheap.
when I left to go to the Ziggurat fire, is what they're calling it, the fire defense board made contact with me, the fire defense board chief, which is Chief Daniels out of Depot Bay. And when he starts seeing resources moving from area to area, we start moving other resources. So when our crews were out, a Toledo engine crew was here on standby for our community while we were up there. Plus, some of our volunteers were here on standby also. So you
Okay,
have,
all of the resources was not down there then?
no,
I was
Okay.
honestly one of the ones here.
Yeah, but you always have somebody on standby when
Yeah.
you're gone.
yeah. We tried to put a new auto aid agreement into play that when resources moved, it ensured that resources were available in the area so that we didn't pull too many resources to a fire to where we did leave the area unprotected.
Right,
Only Central Coast and Yachats have signed that agreement,
okay.
so.
Well, I support mutual aid. I think that it's very important. I also support the combining of Seal Rock, Walport, and Yachats in one district. I think it would save money, I think it would be efficient, and I think that it would free up the personnel so that they could do more.
Absolutely.
Now, another question.
Oh, boy,
These are difficult. I'm probably over my 3 minutes, but.
probably are.
Do you have an agreement with the city of Walport for a helipad where it's safe for them to land here to pick up?
We don't have an agreement, we have designated landing zones. We have multiple designated landing zones throughout our district that when we call for a life flight helicopter.
I know I've seen them come in and I've seen them. Is that the same place where you have the agreement?
There's no agreement. We
You
don't.
better get an agreement
We can
because,
land a helicopter wherever we want as long as it's got the clearance for the rotors. So,
okay, well then there's another question. Have you gone up the Alsea River and looked for places?
Yes,
where- Have you talked to the property owners?
yes.
Okay.
And we have multiple places upriver where we can land helicopters. Some of them are dependent on time of year.
Oh, absolutely.
Because some of those fields get a little flooded
Yeah.
at certain times of the year. Other ones are available all year long. And we've landed helicopters on the bridges, like the Five Rivers Bridge.
Yes, I know that too.
We try not to, but we can.
Well, there's a white spot there. There's enough here. And, okay, another question. You may not answer this one either. As a small business, we have to keep total records of the monies we spend supporting our business. And credit cards and everything we have to have receipts for. And we get audited on occasion. Does the fire department here have an
Yes,
audit?
we do have an independent auditor. We get an annual audit.
It's an annual audit, who does it?
Currently,
It's Jared, I don't have the name of
yeah,
Jared
It's a new-
Subert or
new,
something out of,
yeah,
they're from the valley. We had a new one
it.
last year and
There's
this year.
yeah.
Okay, but you do have to have an annual
Jared
audit?
Yes.
Seaver
Yes.
And all of
We're
the
required-
audits can be found on our website.
Okay, well, I'm not saying anything is wrong.
No,
I'm just saying it's a
yeah,
good
yeah.
protection
Yeah.
for you people to
Yes,
do this.
yeah.
You know, rather than just a line item on a computer.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
actually required by the state to submit our audit to the state every year.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yep.
Well, I've served on several boards. I know it's a thankless job, and I know it takes a lot of work. It's not easy. But sometimes I have found myself becoming complacent and overlooking things that end up biting us.
Right.
So,
Yeah, if you ever want to look at them, they're all listed on the website up to the one that's currently being done right now.
okay, all right. Okay, well, see, I don't have any real problems except getting here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad you showed up.
And Lita, I will also say that, you know, when you have questions like that, a lot of times, you can just go ahead and email them,
Okay.
you know, so you don't have to come in with a huge list.
Well, you can ditch me out.
Right, so that's okay. Okay, Peter, you said your item was under general?
General?
3 minutes.
Yeah, I wasn't so,
Susan's timing you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, first, I would really like to thank you all for the problems that we've had, and we've been able to work through them and finally end up with a board that is strong and provides us with everything that we need. So to Rita and John and Greg, thank you very much. You guys are the rocks of it, you know? That's what it takes, is a good board. And the next thing I would like to say is that a board can only operate with the right leadership. And to that leadership, that goes to Jamie. And I think myself is that He's the most valuable asset that we have. And I am so happy and grateful that he chose our place, the land, to do what he does. So really, I'm just here to support the community and our district, that is, and be thankful that you're all here. It's a great family.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. So, staff presentations.
For August, September, we ran 9 fires, 56 EMS calls, 10 vehicle crashes, 1 water rescue, 4 lift assists, and 2 other assists, for a total of 82 emergencies. So far in October, we've ran 5 fires, 28 EMS calls, 8 vehicle crashes, no water rescues, 9 lift assists, and 2 other assists, for a total of 52 emergencies so far this month. So we're right on track. We're sitting
Yeah.
at about 700 calls for the,
Yeah.
so far.
Of those fires how many of them were structure fires? How many were?
I'd have to go back.
Oh,
and
okay, I
look.
think I were.
Most of those were, I believe, brush fires.
Brush fires, that is.
Well, as you know, we have a new truck out front.
It's the wrong color.
It is, it will be the right color. Going down there, I evaluated it not only by cost of value, but knowing that we were getting something for free and we don't look a gift horse in the mouth. But I, at the same time, didn't want to purchase or take something, accept something, accept something that was gonna be troublesome in the future. Also, in the back of my mind, knowing that we have the ability to get, and Chief told me this is new to me, a grant from that grant specifically to change the color of it, to upgrade the seats, the lighting. You know, I don't know what we were gonna look into that. We're gonna look into the dollar amount because we'd like to change the tires on it too. I mean, we have a laundry list of things we wanna do to it, but anyway, with that in mind, so if there is things that were needed, I didn't like scrutinize it like I would something that I was, spending $100,000 or $120,000 of taxpayer money on. So it ran good, drove good. It doesn't, you get on it, and I was told that it was governed out at 55 miles an hour. So I figured it would take me a week to get it back here, driving it from California, but was able to get it up here because they either programmed it differently or what, but I was able to do highway speeds, which was nice. So I was able to get up here in a decent amount of time. But it didn't shake, shudder, nothing. So, and getting on the brakes, I actually had to dog them a couple times. It's California highways. It didn't track one way or the other. It went straight down the road when they hit the brakes. So I think it'll be a good asset for us in the long run. Once we get the grant through, get some new lighting package on it to where it matches our color, not only our color scheme on the body, but the lighting scheme that we use. When we get it on board and get it fully operational and can send it on conflags, I think it'll definitely make us some good money as far as the district is concerned. Make a good return, all honestly for free. So free money's a good thing, so even on the lighting stuff. So other than that, I don't really have much. I haven't put the boat back in service. I gotta put the bucket back on the pump, but everything's been painted, it's just sitting there. Of course, made a deep trip to California to get this thing, so I'll be doing that tomorrow. I'm gonna take it out, weather permitting, take it out tomorrow, run it around, make sure it goes forward, reverse, steers still, and does good, and then we'll pull it back out, put it back down here, and put it back in service, so
Okay.
we'll be good to go. The only other thing I wanna say is that, I don't know, I didn't see it anywhere else. There are security cameras in here now for our discussion at the workshop. There's one there, recording everything that wise. And then temporarily, we're recording with the borrowed equipment for this meeting. Next meeting under direction, I'll do the same thing only because we won't have the new stuff until the December meeting. But I will get that new stuff all programmed, set up, ready to go. My goal is to have the new board desk set up as well at the same time, to kind of introduce the whole thing all at once. So that way you guys have a place to sit, new microphones, new whole new setup. So
Be a good Christmas present.
Yeah.
Kiss, kiss to paint them.
Yeah, she's paying, so,
Is that all you had?
yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I just have one thing, I have not finalized the policies yet because it was brought to my attention that I had one more that really needed to be updated to conform with state law. So that was our smoking policy. So I put a copy of the current, which is the green, one marked green, under staff reports. And then basically state law is all I did was just copy and paste it over, and that's the one in blue to update our smoking policy. So I just need you guys basically to approve that. So we basically just went from what we had to what the state says. So we're just kind of in compliance with them.
They take a half a page to say what we said in one sentence.
Pretty much, yeah. So what ours doesn't
Right.
include is like vape pens and things like that and stuff. So it also didn't talk about, we didn't have it as far as like the 10 feet from buildings and entrances and stuff like that. So I figured we probably should have that in there.
Yeah. Okay, so is that something that's going to require board action to approve that, or?
I don't, you guys already approved the updates on the policy. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that I was updating that one as well too. So I don't know if you necessarily need to approve it or.
We could go ahead.
Or just do it.
I mean,
We could go ahead and
we
approve
did
it, yeah,
approve the
just-
other ones, so.
Yeah.
It would be better for clarification to do
Yeah.
a motion and vote on it.
Yeah.
I motion we approve the new smoking wording in our policy.
I'll second. So it's been moved and seconded to approve the new proposed language for smoking in our policy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. That was
You're
all I had.
welcome. Do you have a volunteer report?
Tomorrow is the last bingo of the year. It's going to be a fun one. So for everybody who brings so we kind of changed it up because every time we do a special one, we like to do something special. So it's kind of our holiday one, Halloween holiday one. But we're also helping South Lincoln Resources Holiday Food Basket. So everyone who brings a non-perishable food item will get a raffle ticket for a special gift basket that we have set aside just for that. Of course, then we have the regular raffles. We'll be doing a bunch more raffle drawings than we normally do because I have all kinds of holiday stuff to give out. Jackpots at what,
378.
378. We've got trunk or treat coming up. We're starting the holiday event season. And then Academy Crew. I've got 2 more applications pending for volunteers. Just waiting on backgrounds to come back. One actually just came back today. Five Rivers Way. And then for us that are in Academy, we've got 3 weeks and we're done. So graduation's November 5th.
4 more volunteer, or 4 more certified fire 1, fire 2 firefighters.
So your cool hat advertisement seemed to work?
In all fairness, not really. It wasn't. It was great fun for the staff and the volunteers to do that.
Yeah.
You know, we sat around and talked, and we had dogs here. They came up and hung out with us for a while. The movie is, I want to try to figure out how we can get it online. They're selling it via DVD. I guess I'm going to try to recoup their money. I'd like to see a way for it just to get out there without costing people money, because it's got good information about the volunteerism, but it's not something that you're going to want to go someplace and just sit at a movie theater.
Right.
You know, we had free popcorn and hot dogs here, but trying to entice people, but it's, of course, everybody out, you know, Grand Central that day, I guess, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, hopefully, you know, we've got advertising still running on social media, so hopefully we can start gathering people in. She just told
I
me.
know the flyer's been working as far as,
Yeah.
people,
Is
I've
that
had people
call?
call about it. part of the problem with the open house was scheduling and trying to find, there's no perfect weekend.
Right.
It happened to be the same day as the eclipse, which obviously anybody here didn't see it. A lot of people decided to go out of town to try and see it. But just scheduling is, and there's always something, event going on around here, so you're always conflicting with somebody else's event. Because, I mean, I think the hub was doing free hot dogs that day too, so. So not only competing with other events, competing with food, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, we're just gonna keep, I'm not gonna give up the fight. I know that people out there want to. The gentleman from Five Rivers that she's talking about, he's very, very antsy to get on board, wants to, basically, he doesn't want to be an entry firefighter, but he wants to get the truck there. He knows that if something happens out in that area, just like a lot of them out there know, it's gonna be a while before, the main
Right.
engine can get there. So his goal is just to get certified enough to get either the engine or the engine that's out there.
Yeah.
And I honestly will have a heart attack the day I hear engine 74 is out.
And they're pretty far up.
No, we don't need that.
Yeah.
We really don't need
It's just, it's never been said
There's
before.
a couple more people in Five Rivers that are showing
Yeah.
interest, so we could have a few people up there soon.
That would be good.
Yeah.
There are two of the firefighters that came on to do the wildland staffing, enjoyed pulling shifts here, and so they want to continue pulling shifts here even after the wildland staffing is completed. So we've been running 3, 4, even 5 on our engine
That's great.
for most of this month with the wildland staffing grant going through. So we've had a lot of upstaffing. Unfortunately, after October 31st, that grant, even if you have money left over, you can't spend it anymore.
Right.
But the fact that people want to stay on and keep going, even if they're not getting paid for it,
That's great,
shows
yeah.
something about what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have the 4 members that are in the academy graduating in a few weeks also. So our numbers are up. We're still trying to recruit to get more, but the rumor that our volunteer program is decimated is far from true.
Yeah.
So
It got rewritten.
we've got quite a few volunteers, and our volunteers, with the exception of the 2 people that are on the wildland staffing grant, are in our communities. Whereas a lot of other places are claiming volunteers, but they don't live in their communities and aren't available. If someone's house caught fire right now, our volunteers could come down to the station in a matter of minutes and then jump on trucks and go. Other volunteers, if they volunteer for an agency but they live in the valley, it's going to take a long time if they came over for a call. So the only time they're here is when they're pulling shifts.
Right.
And so, people got to keep that in perspective, that there are many definitions of volunteer, whereas the volunteers we're trying to get are people in community that can show up at a moment's notice when you need them.
Right. Okay, do we have a union report? Nope. Okay. Brett, finance report.
Well, at the end of September, the district finished the month with $236,919 on account. The LGIP accounts are now earning 5% interest per year. Not much interest in that. Prior levy funds, $10,149, so we're significantly running ahead of budget, and we collected far more than we expected. Legal services, attorney fees, $5,992 accrued at the end of the month. Excuse me. Office supplies, $1,533, so we're still $6,467 under budget. That's really about it. We just started. Fuel, $3,660 for the first 3 months of the year. Vehicle repair, well, running ahead of budget, $7,504. Don't know if that will continue. And boat repairs is the last one I want to mention. $4,103, so we did exceed the budget for boat repairs. We gotta get stuff done.
Okay.
And I left a resolution for you.
Right, So, well, let's go through the approval of the financial report and approval of expenditures, and then actually do this under new business. We'll just add it to new business.
Move we accept the financial report as presented.
I second that.
Been moved and seconded to accept the financial report. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to pay the bills?
My motion, we pay the bills.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve paying the bills. All those in favor? Okay, correspondence?
We do not have any of this stuff.
Okay.
Well, we don't have any written correspondence, but after our last meeting,
Yes.
we were brought cookies from multiple people.
Oh,
So,
well, nice.
yeah, you could count that as correspondence, I guess.
I guess you could.
And there's several letters, I guess you could say, of support on Facebook.
Okay. Anything under old business?
We have some.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take up this proposed resolution here. This would be Resolution 2023-10, amending the budget for fiscal year 23-24. Whereas ORS 194.3382, parens 2, provides for the expenditure of grants, gifts, or devices transferred to a municipal corporation and trust for specific purposes. Whereas ORS 294.463 provides for transfers of appropriations within a fund or from one fund to another. Therefore, the Central Oregon Coast Fire and Rescue District Governing Board resolves that the Central Oregon Coast Fire and Rescue District budget appropriations for the fiscal year 2023-24 are hereby amended as follows. Under Building and Property Fund, line 9205, an interfund transfer out of $30,000. And the general fund, line 5825, interfund transfer in of $30,000. Equipment Reserve Fund, line 9200, interfund transfer out of $15,000. And General Fund 5820, interfund transfer in of $15,000. This is to budget for transfer of funds designated to be spent within the General Fund for fiscal year 2023-24. This is the District Governing Board at the Board of Directors meeting on October 19th. Now, this is actually designed to be in place if we need to do it. If we don't need to do it, we won't be transferring the money. This is just setting it up so that, because we've still got a few weeks before tax funds, roll out. So, did I get that pretty much right?
Yeah, and then we'll write a resolution later to reverse it,
Yeah, if we do, then we would, yeah.
just to keep the budget.
When we get to that point and we're deciding what to put back, I would like to hold the 15, and I'll bring it up as, I'll put it on my report, to hold the 15 to match it with the $25,000 grant we got from Ford Family, so we can get the floating dock here and get the boat on it. The Moose Lodge is doing fundraising so that they can donate the 15 to us to get the floating dock in place to keep the boat down at the port. And I agree, the boat needs to be down at the port for rapid deployment, for rescue. The longer we wait, not only are we risking having to spend more on the floating dock because of the increase of the cost for the supplies and everything, but the longer we wait, the longer we have to keep the boat out of the port to keep it from getting damaged again. So we can wait till we get tax money coming in.
Yeah, well, and that's fine. I'm sure we can word a resolution to, to handle that, and that would be appropriate.
Yeah.
But Are we keeping the boat? What, I thought we were, what?
So I'll talk in my report
Okay.
about what I,
Okay, all
for
right.
grant-wise, but,
Okay,
I mean, at this point, we haven't seen any direction not to keep the boat yet. So I'm just kind of carrying forward with making sure we have something at the port for
Right.
response.
Okay. All right.
So,
very good.
Well, if we could wait for 4 weeks.
yes, yeah, we will
we
wait.
do
Yeah.
that.
We'll wait, either the fundraising will come through from there,
Uh-huh.
and we won't have to do this, or we do this, and then when the fundraising comes through, we backfill it back into where it goes. I just don't want to delay any longer than we absolutely have to get the boat back on the water in the port. I just can't put it in the water because it just costs us $4,000 to fix it,
Right,
so.
I understand.
okay. Any questions, comments? Can we get a motion to approve the resolution as read?
Motion that we approve that as well.
Okay.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2023-10. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, now we have new business, adopt ordinance 2301.
So the ordinance has been revised as requested and is listed in there as an amendment to the original,
Right, it's actually a replacement to the
or
original.
replacement for the
Yeah.
original.
So, for explanation purposes for the public, we had a discussion at our workshop on Monday. Back in 2016, the board decided to pass pass an ordinance that would prohibit employees, was it it was career staff, employees, and volunteers from serving on the board. And that was done at that time to include the volunteers because at that time we had a stipend program in effect. And although the stipend program may be coming back, there is a way that we can allow the board members to serve if they sign a waiver that they won't be receiving any monies. It does away with any conflict. And it has come to our attention in the past couple of years that we do have current board members who are also trained to respond. And there have been some recent incidents where those board members couldn't respond because we had the ordinance in place that said, you can't drive a fire truck if you're on the fire board. So we discussed this, and since the reason that it was done to begin with, to include the volunteers, was because of that stipend, it was felt that yes, it is a good idea that we don't have career staff and employees serving on the board, because that would be a direct conflict. So we have drafted an ordinance to remove the volunteer from the group that would be excluded from serving on the board. So with that being said, I will read ordinance 2301 into the record. An ordinance replacing ordinance 1601 and prohibiting career staff and district employees from serving on the Fire District Board of Directors. Whereas the Central Oregon Coast Fire District is a duly organized fire protection district established in accordance with Oregon Revised Statutes, and whereas ORS 478.050 authorizes the Board of Directors to prohibit by ordinance career staff and district employees from serving as directors of said district, and whereas it has been determined to be in the best interest of the Central Oregon Coast Fire and Rescue Fire District to prohibit the aforementioned persons from serving as directors of the fire district. Now therefore be it resolved, the Central Oregon Coast Fire and Rescue District ordains the following: that a district director of Central Oregon Coast Fire and Rescue District shall be an elector or an owner within the said district and shall not be either career staff or a district employee. This ordinance will replace ordinance 1601 and will take effect immediately upon board approval. Any comments, questions?
I make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2301.
Okay.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance 2301. All those in favor? Aye.
I expect task books and applications here really soon. I expect task books and applications here really soon.
Of course.
I've already got a propaganda photo in
Yeah.
at the bingos. Yeah.
I need rescue drivers.
Yep. Well, that's one of the reasons why we're doing this. Okay, meeting time change. Now, this was something that we had discussed at our last board meeting because we have a couple of board members, well, in fact, one of them can't be here tonight because he's working. And so we had talked about the possibility of changing the meeting time to earlier in the day. Because I know it especially affects at least two of our board members. And it would also be more convenient for staff.
It should be known that he was using his personal
Yeah.
PTO time to come to meetings
Yeah.
when he was
When he
scheduled
wasn't,
to be
when
at
he
work.
wasn't, yeah,
So-
right, yeah. Yeah, so,
I think we said.
we thought we'd
3
keep it,
p.m.
we thought we'd keep it the same day.
Day, just 3 p.m.
And start the meetings at 3 p.m. in the afternoon instead of at 5 or 5:30. But because it was a workshop, we couldn't make any, we couldn't make any decisions. So, do we want to make a motion to that effect?
I don't have a problem. I motion that we change it to 3.
Yep, I second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to change the meeting time to 3 o'clock. We do need to notify media and so on of the time change,
I can
so
do
that we
a
can be
press
sure that
release.
that's all updated.
I'll do a press release and
Yeah.
send it out to everyone.
Okay, all right. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. And then we have December meetings.
So I had that added on there for consideration. For the last 3 years, when we get to the November meeting, we always start discussing all the events and all the things that are going on, especially in December, and then it's always right up next to the holiday. For the last 3 years, we've canceled the December meeting because everybody's so busy and we're not going to either end up with a quorum or everybody's just busy doing events and family things.
Right.
I would recommend that we just, and we would have to, I think it's in the policy even for the meeting schedule, I don't know 100%.
So,
If it lists what months we have meetings or not. But I think we should just remove December off of our meeting schedule
Yeah,
because,
well, I think our policy is just that the board should meet regularly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And much as I would like to make a blanket policy that we always do away with the December meetings,
There could be-
I would just assume that we make that decision annually.
okay.
Because there may be times when we need to have a December meeting.
Well, and that's usually. what
And we
call
always
it.
have the ability to change the date or, to convene a special meeting if we need to, in any case. I mean, if something comes up between now and December 30th, we can always convene a meeting.
Yeah,
But I really don't want to put it in the policies that we always take December off. But I do think that, unless anything arises, I know it's always a lot of stress, staff has other events that they're working on during December as well. And it's something the city council's done in the past to do, around the holiday season, so.
I think there's some planning that gets affected for staff as well, because we don't know until the November meeting if there's
Right,
gonna be a
right,
December meeting,
yeah,
and so we
yeah.
don't.
Right,
We try to make sure that that day is not gonna be interrupted,
Mm.
and then we talk
Yeah.
about it in November, and like I said, for the last 3 years, it's been consistently, no, let's not do a December meeting, and we cancel it.
yeah. Well, and I think it's, it's perfectly appropriate to talk about it in October. It really is, because like I said, we can always call a meeting if we have to. It just wouldn't be our regular meeting. It would probably be a single topic or whatever. But that being said, if you guys agree with that, if you could entertain a motion, just go ahead and postpone the December meeting.
Sure, I'll make a motion
Okay?
And I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to postpone, postpone the December meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Talk about meetings, and maybe we do have it, and I don't know. Do we have like a meet and greet, like once or twice a year, where the community comes and just
We do
meets
an
them?
open house.
We try to do 2 open houses a year. We have, the one we usually do in July. We didn't do it this year. We were extremely busy in
Okay.
July with fires and things. And then we always do the pictures with Santa, which we kind of consider an open house because everybody
Yeah, we
comes
kind of just
in.
started that in the last couple of years. But like during COVID, nobody was doing pictures with Santa, and then when we came out of it, the chamber always used to do it at the interpretive center, and then they quit doing it. So
I think they're planning on doing it this year though, but it's gonna be like the 1st of December.
yeah, so I always try and do it after Beachcombers does like their Christmas light parade. So I know we've got events going on the first 3 weekends of December. It's every weekend, and then it's like the 4th weekend, it's Christmas. So we started doing that one. So that's kind of a great way. It's, the church ladies are coming and doing gingerbread cookies. The high school came last year and did a book thing. Or elementary school or something. But we kind of use that as an open house. We free photo with Santa. And then-
I just think it's a good idea. I mean, it's a way for, community members that can't make it to the meeting, at least twice a year, they can come and ask us questions in an informal setting, and even though we can't, make any changes, we could take those questions, and it's just a good meet and greet type of thing. I think it's important that we do that.
I think it's important, honestly, for just personally, that you guys as board members come to as many events as you can, even if it's just to stop by or, and say hi. A lot of the events that we do, even the ones that are geared towards kids, are great for getting volunteers. We've handed out applications before, so it's, because
Just
it's,
stagger your times.
Yeah.
you bring.
Yeah, we don't all want to show up at once, so,
Sorry.
yeah.
Joking.
Well, I'm usually working, so, yeah.
So it's, even the ones for the kids, it's the parent, who's bringing the kids? The parents. And the parents get just as interested as, in the trucks as the kids do. And you start talking to them and it's kind of like, oh, okay. Well, here's an application. And then your kid can say, hey, my mom or your daddy's a firefighter.
Yeah.
So you sucker them in.
Yeah, so we have multiple events all throughout the year, and then we have the open houses that we try to open all the doors and let the public come in and ask questions, look at everything other than the dorm area where the firefighters live. That's, but, we try to hand out some food to entice people to come in. Sometimes we get a lot of people, sometimes we don't. It's hit and miss, and it always depends on what's going on around us. And then we also have Beachcombers Day because we staff up for Beachcombers Day with the increased population here. And usually for
It's not quite as
Beachcombers
popular
Day,
as it used to be when you also did the beer garden, but.
no beer garden on fire district property.
Yeah,
But we do the parade, and then we're outside, we're mingling with people all day long, and so. I think we've got really good community, outreach.
Yeah.
We could always do more. It's just trying to meld it in with everything else. We are responding on a lot of calls, not just for our district, but the districts around us. And so, it's trying to balance everything in.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get a couple volunteers in that want to do nothing but events, because then they can kind of just take
Yeah,
over.
event coordinator would be a
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
nice volunteer
And
position.
that's why we kind of broke it down, and even in the new volunteer program, and if you I mean,
You gave John
want
a
to sit
copy
down
of
and,
that.
yeah, it's broke down into jobs. It's not, you figure volunteer firefighter, a lot of people are scared by that, but I really broke it down into, oh, you just want to drive a truck, or hey, do you want to just come help with events, or hey, like right now, honestly, it'd be great if I could find a volunteer that would help me with some data entry, because I'm way behind on that, so, that kind of thing. If you want to be a part of the district, please come in, because there's lots of stuff we can help, you can help with, so.
Okay. Chief's report?
Okay, so I'll go through our grants first. So, Ford Family Foundation, we applied for $25,000. We were awarded $25,000 towards the floating boat dock. And so, like I said, we're working with the Moose to try to get the other 15 to get that in place. It's a floating dock, so the boat pulls up onto it. It keeps the boat out of the water when it's not being used. It anchors right directly into the platform. And then when you want to go to put the boat back in the water, you unanchor it and it slides back off the floating dock, and then you deploy and go. We put the boat down in the port because the port, and specifically our slip, is so close to the shore. We had a massive growth of sea life, let's just call it that, on the whole. And that wasn't really the big problem. The big problem is that it developed on the jet drive. It's not an outboard. We can't keep the motor out of the water. It's a jet drive. It sucks water in and then ejects the water out for propulsion. When we tried to move the boat and steer the boat, that life shredded the linkage on that jet drive and basically disabled the boat completely. It was able to run, but we couldn't steer it, which is very bad,
Yeah.
obviously. So
how do you access the floating dock? I mean, is it just kind of,
it's floating in the slip. It's anchored
oh,
to
it's
the slip.
in the slip,
Yep,
okay.
and the boat
But
will,
it's actually keeps the boat out of the
yeah,
water.
Yep, so the
while
boat
it's
pulls
in
up
the-
and it dips down, and then once the boat's on it, it lifts up,
Oh,
and the boat
cool.
stays out.
They're
And
basically like airport pontoons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sunk
Yeah.
down and then lift back up.
Cool.
we got this Astoria Fire. That's how they store their boat down in the marina, is on an air float dock.
uh-huh,
And they keep it out of the water for the same reasons as ours.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
put it in the water, it will damage the boat over time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we saw how theirs worked. It worked great. Their boat is much larger than ours. And so we researched it, contacted the company. They give us the quote and they'll install it. We have to use our boat to get it in place, which won't be really hard for us. And then it's ready to go. You just pull up on it, anchor in. When you're ready to go, unanchor, push, and it goes right back off again.
Neat.
So very, very low maintenance. So we've got money coming in for that, thanks to the Ford family and thanks to the Moose for doing some fundraising on our behalf. We'll be resubmitting for the Oregon Seismic Grant by December. We're going to add a 3% overall on it to forecast for upcoming costs. The FEMA grants, so the AFG grant, we haven't received our thanks but no thanks letter. So I don't know if it's like last year with the tender where it's been selected for award but it hasn't been funded or not. I've received 2 notifications from FEMA that all the thanks but no thanks letters have been sent out.
and we didn't receive
We
it.
haven't received one, but we also haven't received an award letter either. So I don't know if we're just, because the ambulance is still listed on FEMA, if they're like putting us in a like a pending position or not. I don't know. I'll try to reach out to our rep and see what they say.
You almost don't want to pester him too much, because
Yeah, it's okay. I can pester him. So we got the ODF grant. I got the contract to the ODF grant last week, so we'll be able to spend the $6,000 for the Bendix King radio for when we're on configuration, so we can talk to everybody appropriately, and then also some fire equipment to stock up our vehicles with. The OSFM engine program, so we were awarded the tender they said originally it's gonna arrive December, January, but I've been talking with the vendor that's building the truck, and I'm gonna guess it's gonna be closer to April
No.
that we're gonna see that truck. They're just based off of how their builds are going. But brand new truck,
Yep,
free to the district.
Free to the district.
It's a $460,000 truck.
yeah.
So, and it'll be stationed out at Tidewater Station. It is what's called a RAT. It's a rapid attack tender. So it has pump and roll, 4-wheel drive. It has ground sweep nozzles, bumper turret, and it carries 2,000 gallons. So it's one of those trucks that can literally pull up on a fire and just start flowing water before anybody even gets out of the truck.
Right.
So it's going to be a very, very nice addition to our fleet. That being said, we were also awarded a Type 3 heavy brush engine from the U.S. Forest Service. That's sitting out front for you guys to see after the meeting if you want to go look at it. It just arrived yesterday. Eric brought it back with him from Wairika, California. And so we will apply for a FEP grant. They have grants specifically for those trucks in the spring to get the, like Eric said, the light package switched over, get it routed to our scheme, get any equipment that we need for it to get it online so that it is in service, ready to go for
Next budget.
wildland season next year.
Yeah.
That's going to be married to the tender at Tidewater. So those two trucks will be we want to get people out there so that they're rolling those trucks together. And so that way the tender is supplying to the Type 3, the Type 3 is fighting fire. So, of course, we have the wildland staffing grant from OSFM. Like I said, we've had multiple shifts this month where we've had 3 people, 4 people, 5 people on the engine. Thanks to that grant, we've had really good turnout of personnel utilizing those funds. The tribe gave us $3,500 for a Lucas device, and OSU just gave us an additional $17,000. So we purchased the Lucas device. It should be here hopefully next month. Some of the extra supplies for it arrived just the other day, so we're hoping it's coming soon. Of course, that's the chest compression device, so that a responder doesn't have to do chest compressions. It does the chest compressions for us, which makes us more available to do administering drugs, respirations, other things that we can do aside from doing chest compressions. So it's a really, really nice device. It is gonna be a lifesaver. The tribe also gave us $6,000 for volunteer recruitment and retention. That's what partially paid for the flyers that went out. It's paying for some volunteer stipends. It's paying for a lot of volunteer recruitment planning. We also received $9,900 from the tribe for fire hose. That's been spent. Fire hose has arrived, and we've outfitted the trucks, so the trucks are now identical for hose load supplies and attack hose. So no more one truck has this, one truck has that. If they show up at a fire scene, they all have the same stuff, and they are all fully capable as each one is. So we submitted a grant through Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. They did a wildland grant, and I submitted a grant for a side-by-side UTV with a wildland skid in the back of it. And so that'll be beach capable, so if we get beach fires, we can take that down on the beach. It's light enough it won't get buried in the sand like our trucks will. It's also gonna be off-road rated, so they could go on trails, cat trails, things where our bigger trucks can't go. So we're gonna cross our fingers on that one. We haven't received any word yet on whether we got it. It's just been applied for this time. I also applied for a SPIRE grant through the state, and the SPIRE grant is specific equipment. There's a list that you have to choose from. On that list was a Sea-Doo on a trailer. So I applied for a grant to get a Sea-Doo on a trailer that will complement the boat, so we could keep both until we decide to do what we want to do with the boat later.
Okay.
In the narrative, so in the list, it only allows you to apply for one on a trailer. In the narrative, I specifically requested 2 on a trailer, and I outlined the need, having been from North Lincoln and doing surf operations in the ocean and using jet skis. the need that the more and more that the Coast Guard helo is not available or too far away to be available in a quick manner, the more and more we need to provide for our own safety. And so having done the North Lincoln program, I know how important it is to have a rescue ski and a safety ski in the water at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
The rescue ski has a rescuer and an operator. They go after the victim. The safety ski stays back at a distance and watches that ski to make sure that there's no issues. If there is, they can swoop in and grab anybody that has an issue.
Yeah.
So I outlined that in the narrative that that's very important to us, to have that safety element and to consider giving us a second ski for that program to operate in that way. If we contact the Coast Guard says, yep, helicopter's launching from Newport, it's gonna be there in less than 10 minutes, then we can launch one ski knowing we're gonna have a helicopter overhead in a matter of minutes that can dip in and get our guys if something happens that we didn't account for.
Right.
So that will be our safety when the helicopter is available. Helicopter's not available, we'll put a second ski in the water with a second rescuer for safety means. So I got that grant. That grant was supposed to close out at the end of this month, and they just extended it to the beginning of January. So we won't hear anything till after
So
January.
does that mean they just didn't get many applications?
I don't know. The state, there's
I
lots
know
of
that,
reasons.
yeah,
So, John Townley, who they just left, they had to go to the football game for standby tonight. He applied for a Leary grant to get us a new float pump to put on the tender out at Tidewater, so we could pull water from the river to resupply tender. And if we don't have, because there's not a lot of hydrants up there.
yeah.
And then he also did a grant for the Garrett Sneeze Fund to get an Emily device. The Emily device is a waterborne drone. It carries a communication radio on it, and it's a float device. So if somebody's in the water and we're getting ready to send crews out in the water, someone like myself who's running incident command can take it out of the back of my vehicle and just drop it in the water and launch it out to the person in the water so they can grab a hold of it and have a flotation device. And I'm able to talk to them through the comm system to let them know that, hey, we're coming, we'll be there soon, just hold on. If it's within a certain amount of distance from the shore, it has a lanyard that can be attached to it to where we can float it out. If they can grab a hold of it and hang on to it, we can actually just tug them back to the shore with that device. So
Interesting.
Depot Bay has one, Silet's just got one on a grant, so we're going for one also, so that we have one down here.
Yeah.
It can be deployed in the surf. I have seen it deployed in the surf. If the waves are really, really big, it doesn't do very good. It doesn't have a strong enough jet, propulsion on it to jump the waves. But on days when the ocean's not so bad, it can get out there. So this is really going to be used, a lot more in the bay,
Yeah.
on the river, and out at Ekman Lake. Any of the bodies of water that don't have waves that would drive it back to the shore because of the power. So.
Neat idea.
Yeah, so we'll find out about that one soon as well. In your packets, you'll have a draft copy of the proposal letter for the city. So we don't need to discuss it or go over it tonight. I provided to you in hard copy. I will also send it to your email so you have it electronically. Over the next month between now and November's meeting, go through it. Changes, corrections, suggestions, grammar, anything that I messed up on it, by all means. I'm a firefighter and I'm an ops chief.
I have not proofread it yet.
There you go.
Yeah.
So just anything you see wrong with it,
There will be corrections.
please let me know so I can get it corrected, and then we can have a final copy available at the November meeting for approval. And then after, at January's council meeting with approval of the board, I will take it to the council meeting and read it at the council meeting to request the proposal. So,
Okay. All right.
There was one other grant that I don't think you talked about,
Which one?
the PFD grant.
Oh, yeah. We got $1,000 to use towards water rescue. And so we bought more personnel PFDs to add to vehicles. So if we show up at the port and somebody needs a PFD to operate either on the boat or down near the water, they can grab one off the vehicle and have a PFD with them.
Hmm.
That was
Nice.
that was the hero grant that I found it and sent it to John because they focus more on water rescue type stuff and equipment, so.
Yep. So I'm going back through my data since I got here and adding up all the grants that, not the grants that like Wendy and John have applied for, just the ones that I have applied for, and adding them all together, I think I'm almost to the $1 million benchmark.
I know you have
So-
been very assiduous about
Yeah.
seeking them out and applying for them, and then, of course, having to wait for the results, but
Yeah, well,
But-
so the majority of our turnouts were completely revamped with a grant from Drive that I wrote for us and for Seal Rock. We got their gear too. Communications grant for all our new radios, wildland PPE grants for all of our, changing out all our PPE, buying all brand new shelters that are in date for everybody and not expired. So I've been adding it all up, and with the new tender and now this Type 3 engine, I'm almost to $1 million in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So, in grant funds.
Well, and all I can say is keep up the good work, because, every grant dollar that we get is one less dollar that our taxpayers have to come up with,
Yep.
Even with the grants that require matching funds, even if we're getting $2 for every $1 or whatever, that's also a good deal, so, yeah.
And speaking of additional funds, we sent firefighters to the Tyree Ridge Fire, and they worked the Tyree Ridge Fire for a little over a week. And I submitted the reimbursement back to the state, where we should be receiving a check for $26,000 for that fire, for our coverage on that fire. So that should hopefully help out quite a bit too. Auto aid, I have not received the response from legal at SDAO regarding auto aid, but I have received a response from SDAO rep, who is a former chief, who gave me his former chief opinion. And the way he looks at it is, we signed the auto aid agreement and y'all have signed the auto aid agreement. We can continue to operate with the new auto aid agreement with Yahweh's because it's signed between the two of us. So car accidents, motor vehicle fires, structure fires, CPRs, you name it, right? We offset each other. We are dependent on each other, okay? The fact that Seal Rock does not want to sign the new auto aid agreement and has requested that we only operate under the 2011 agreement, the fact that they have not signed the new one means that, in his opinion, it does not supersede the 2011 version, and recommends, as I recommended due to liability, that if they only want to operate off the 2011 auto aid, we should only adhere to the 2011 auto aid, which means we will not respond on car accidents, car fires, wildland fires, nothing but structure fires, because that's the only thing that is identified in the 2011 agreement.
Unless requested.
That's mutual aid. This is auto aid.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's the difference. If they ask you to come,
If
though,
they ask us to go, we go.
we
We
go.
have to count
It's just,
mutual aid
it just
for that.
isn't automatically dispatched.
Right, we don't just jump in the truck and go, whether they ask for us or not. Yes. So, what I would like is to get further clarification. So what I'm looking for is, I have to receive direction to do that, because I would like to go to local government law group to get their opinion on this before we make any decisions
Right.
going forward.
And honestly,
I think that's,
I've been behind the scenes having many conversations, because my concern, given the whole nature of the thing,
Right,
is
yes.
that, to me, it's a contractual conflict for us to be utilizing a 2011 contract only for Seal Rock that all 3 districts have signed on to, but then we are utilizing the 2022 contract for just us and Yahats. So to me, it's a conflict. And when I looked at ORS, my takeaway from how that all looked at was that as soon as we created a new auto aid agreement, that it supersedes anything prior to, because we're asking the same 3 groups to sign off on it. And
Yeah.
since we haven't gotten an answer from SDAO,
Well, I think that, you know, before we make any decisions, I do agree that I think you need to talk to local government. I mean, I would think that that would be an appropriate thing to do. It may end up that we end up with just 2 separate agreements. We end up with the agreement that Seal Rock wants, but updated to 2023. And we have an agreement with Yahas
right,
that, you know, will supersede the one that was with the 3 agencies, and it would just be between the 2 agencies.
Exactly.
But that is something that I think, you know, the attorney can clear that up and make that, you know, without spending a lot of money doing so. Does that make sense?
oh, absolutely.
I just don't think we should make a decision on this without some level of legal
Right, yeah,
consultation.
yeah, and I agree.
So,
Do you require a motion for that, or I think
I
just
I have
consensus?
to have a direction to contact local government law group.
And I make the motion that we allow Jamie to go ahead and get that through the law group.
Okay,
And I'll second.
it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
I will call them. And then the only other thing I have lastly is we donated some sections of 2.5-inch hose to the port for them to use for the docks as
For the bumpers, yeah.
So we took the couplings off so in case we needed them later. They don't need the couplings anyway.
Yeah,
And then gave them the hose so that they could,
and the couplings would kind of defeat the whole purpose.
yeah, it would be damaging the boats. So, but we can sometimes reuse the couplings when we need to. So
Okay.
we kept them on hand. And so unless there's any questions, that's, sorry it was lengthy, but
All right, it's good news.
we got
You
a
know,
lot of good stuff going on.
Yes, we do have a lot of good stuff going on.
So,
Well, I don't have anything for the president's report. Do we have any final, anything from the citizens as far as citizen participation?
You're doing a great job. I really appreciate it. And I know that my neighbors as well. Without you guys, we'd be screwed.
Is there anything for good of the order?
thank you.
Then I call this meeting adjourned.
You don't worry about that,
Have a nice